Shalom. I'm Eddie Chomny, Hebraic Heritage Ministries, and we welcome you to this week's Focus Israel Report. In this week's report, we're going to be sharing with you regarding the current status of the Israeli-Palestinian peace process, and it is as follows. Sweden has become the first major European country to recognize a state of Palestine. Swedish Foreign Minister Margot Wallström said, "Today's recognition is a contribution to a better future for a region that has far too long been characterized by frozen negotiations, destruction, and frustration. Some will state this decision comes too soon. I am afraid rather that it is too late. Our decision comes at a critical time because over the last year we have seen how the peace talks have stalled, how decisions over new settlements on occupied Palestinian land have complicated a two-state solution, and how violence has returned to the Gaza Strip," she said. Together with other European countries, as well as the United States and other regional and international organizations, the government will now work to support renewed peace negotiations to reach a final peace agreement, Wallström said. Sweden's move was aimed at supporting moderate Palestinians and making their status more equal with that of Israel in peace negotiations, as well as giving hope to young people on both sides. Israel Foreign Minister Avigdor Lieberman denounced the Swedish government's official recognition of a Palestinian state as deplorable, saying that it would undermine efforts to resolve the conflict. He said, "The decision of the Swedish government to recognize a Palestinian state is a deplorable decision which only strengthens extremist elements in Palestinian rejectionism." The Palestinian Authority immediately praised the decision. President Mahmoud Abbas welcomed Sweden's decision, spokesman Nabil Abu Radena said, saying the Palestinian leader described the move as brave and historic. Abbas called for other countries to follow Sweden's lead. All countries of the world that are still hesitant to recognize our right to an independent Palestinian state based on 1967 borders with East Jerusalem as its capital should follow Sweden's lead, he said. 7 European members located in Eastern European countries, as well as along the Mediterranean, have already recognized a Palestinian state. They include Bulgaria, Cyprus, the Czech Republic, Hungary, Malta, Poland, and Romania. Non-EU member Iceland is the only other Western European nation to have done so. In an interview with a senior Obama administration official, Jeffrey Goldberg of The Atlantic magazine asked the question regarding what foreign leader makes the United States most frustrated. The senior Obama administration official responded by saying that it was Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Then the official referred to Netanyahu as chicken feces. This comment is representative of the brutal manner in which American and Israeli officials now talk about each other behind closed doors, and is yet another sign that relations between the Obama and Netanyahu governments have moved toward a full-blown crisis. The relationship between Israel and the United States is now the worst it's ever been, and it may get worse after the U.S. midterm elections on November the 4th. There is hints that the U.S. may withdraw their diplomatic cover for Israel at the United Nations in the next couple of months. Obama administration officials are expressing red-hot anger at Netanyahu for pursuing settlement policies in the West Bank and building policies in East Jerusalem that they believe have fatally undermined Secretary of State John Kerry's peace process. Goldberg believes that the Obama administration may be looking to make Israel pay direct costs for its settlement policies. Next year, the president of the Palestinian Authority, Mahmoud Abbas, will quite possibly seek for a full UN recognition for a state of Palestine. Goldberg believes that the U.S. will still try to block such a move in the UN Security Council, but it might do so by helping to support a stridently anti-settlement resolution in its place. Such a resolution would isolate Israel from the international community. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry condemned the statement made by the senior Obama administration official who called Netanyahu chicken feces. The insult was disgraceful, unacceptable, and damaging, said Kerry. Kerry also vowed to work quietly and effectively to restart the failed peace process with the Palestinian Authority, saying that the endeavor is doable, but it takes courage and strength. Apparently, it seems that the term chicken feces was used in an attempt to condemn Netanyahu for not being brave enough to make extraordinary concessions to the Palestinian Authority that would put Israel in existential danger and forfeit critical parts of the Jewish state for peace. In an interview with Israel Radio, columnist Jeffrey Goldberg said that he wasn't surprised that Kerry would distance himself from the anonymous Obama official who made the comment, saying, "That's a completely normal course of events. Someone tells the truth, and then because the truth isn't diplomatic, they have to say that they weren't authorized to speak," he said. He said Obama believes Netanyahu is a smart, tough negotiator, but that Obama believes that Netanyahu doesn't spend his political capital in a particularly risky or brave way. Goldberg drew these conclusions after his many personal talks with President Obama. Goldberg said that Netanyahu has written off Obama, but Obama has not written off Netanyahu. He said that Secretary of State John Kerry is the last man standing and could still come through with a peace deal. The sense is, Goldberg said, that Israel needs the U.S. more than the U.S. needs Israel, and that there is a feeling, especially when it comes to the defense minister, that they've been treated disrespectfully. The veteran reporter claimed that the situation could still be remedied if Netanyahu was willing to make compromises, especially regarding the settlements. For it to be reversed, from the American standpoint, they would have to see the Israeli government take some of the steps Obama has been asking of Israel for years, Goldberg said. Provocative moves are the core of the Obama officials' anxiety, and that the settlements are the key sources of tension. He concluded by saying, unless Netanyahu is able to take control from some of his right-wing members of his cabinet, no, I don't think things will get any better with the United States. A leading figure in Netanyahu's Likud political party, Knesset member Miri Regev, who chairs the Knesset's Interior Committee, condemned the comments made by the unnamed Obama senior government official by saying, "With all due respect for Obama, who is he to hand out grades to the Israeli Prime Minister? The utterances are unacceptable and constitute intervention in Israel's affairs by President Obama. Jews will build homes everywhere in the land of Israel, including East Jerusalem, and the Arabs can also live anywhere in the state of Israel," she said. Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu responded to these comments by saying, "I am being attacked because I'm defending Israel. I respect our relationship with the United States, but I'm not ready to make concessions that would endanger Israel's security." With regards to Jerusalem, Netanyahu said, "Our vital interests, first and foremost our security in a unified Jerusalem, are not the uppermost interests of the unnamed officials who attacked our government and me personally. I'm being attacked simply because I defend the state of Israel. Despite all the attacks against me, I will keep defending our country and Israel's people." Israel economic minister and the leader of the Jewish Home political party, Naftali Bennett, rebuked the United States for throwing Israel under the bus. The Israel Prime Minister is the leader of the Jewish state and the entire Jewish people. Cursing the Prime Minister and calling him names is an insult, not just to him, but to the millions of Israeli citizens and Jews across the globe. In an editorial in the Jerusalem Post, it was pointed out that this is just the latest in a series of vindictive acts by the Obama administration because Israel has dared to reject its dictates. Nothing illustrates President Obama's contemptuous attitude toward Israel more than his directive to withhold arms to Israel during wartime because Israel had rejected Kerry's initiative to engage Qatar as the mediator to end the Gaza hostilities. The Obama administration adamantly insists that the Israel-Palestine status quo is untenable, yet it remains silent as Hamas boasts of efforts to restore its tunnel network in the Gaza Strip. Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas humiliated the U.S. administration by merging with Hamas without prior consultation with the United States. Furthermore, the United States failed to criticize this move, nor has condemned Abbas for killing any Palestinian found selling land to an Israeli. Netanyahu should be commended for his extraordinary diplomatic balancing act in withstanding the unreasonable pressure from Obama and Kerry, avoiding outright confrontations, and in so doing retaining the support of the American public opinion and Congress. The U.S. administration is planning to present a proposal to resume the peace talks between Israel and the Palestinians after the midterm elections for the U.S. Congress on November the 4th. The report came as U.S. State Department spokeswoman Jen Psaki announced that a Palestinian delegation would arrive in the United States on November the 3rd for high-level talks on ways to move forward with the stalled peace talks and the reconstruction of the Gaza Strip. According to Palestinian sources, the new U.S. proposal consists of 3 points. Number 1, ending construction in the West Bank and in East Jerusalem. Number 2, suspending the Palestinian bid at the UN Security Council for a resolution setting a timeline for an Israeli withdrawal to the pre-1967 borders. And number 3, resuming peace talks from the point where they ended this past April. The initiative is being prepared by the U.S. State Department and will be officially presented by the end of this year or the start of next year. Western diplomatic sources said that the Americans have received a promise from the Palestinians to postpone a potential draft resolution at the UN Security Council until after the November 4th U.S. congressional elections to help the Obama administration avoid having to use its veto prior to the U.S. elections. These sources say that for the first time, the U.S. is considering abstaining from using its veto power to prevent recognition of a Palestinian state with East Jerusalem as its capital at the UN Security Council, attributing this possibility to 2 factors. The first is that the Obama administration's overall dissatisfaction with Netanyahu's policies and positions, and the second is that the Palestinian draft resolution uses mild language appropriate for the United States. Palestinian news sources indicated that Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas will reject the U.S. peace proposal. Instead, the Palestinians plan to ask the UN Security Council to vote on recognizing a Palestinian state with East Jerusalem as its capital in early 2015. The Palestinians are not confident that they have the 9 members of the UN Security Council who would agree to bring the proposal to a vote. However, on January the 1st, there will be 5 new Security Council members more supportive of the Palestinian cause who will replace the 5 countries who are now less supportive. The new Security Council members on January the 1st will be Venezuela, Angola, New Zealand, Spain, and Malaysia. They will be replacing Argentina, Australia, Luxembourg, South Korea, and Rwanda. Yehuda Glick, a leading advocate for Jewish rights on the Temple Mount, was shot 4 times outside the Menachem Begin Heritage Center, where he was giving a speech entitled Israel Returns to the Temple Mount. In the past, Glick was the executive director of the Temple Institute, a Jewish religious organization which is dedicated to the rebuilding of the temple. Recently, he founded the Initiative for Jewish Freedom on the Temple Mount. Palestinians in the Old City of Jerusalem set off fireworks in celebration of the shooting. Well, that's going to conclude this week's report, where we shared with you regarding the current status of the Israeli-Palestinian peace process. Until we do it again, Shalom in Yeshua the Messiah. Amen.